From the United States, Ottawa, St. Catharines, Leander, University of Victoria. Again, lane 7 is Argentina, and another Ottawa boat in lane 8.
They look like they're sitting up at the catch, just getting ready there. Everybody's lined up. Couple minor adjustments, maybe from bow seat to seat, to make sure that they're totally straight.
And in these boats without coxies, usually the bow seat does take responsibility for keeping the boat on course.
And they're off. So men's senior lightweight 4. So each athlete has one oar in a sweep event like this. And somebody in the boat, bow seat or stroke seat, will have a little bit of steering attached to their tow.
Yeah, usually they'll have one athlete who looks after the steering and another one who's going to take on somewhat of the role of a coxie by making calls throughout the race.
With the lightweight event, these guys would have stepped on the scale. I really enjoy the men's senior lightweight 4. I find typically, even with a straight final like this, you're pretty much guaranteed some tight racing, both in the top end, but through the body of the race as well.
Yeah, it looks like St. Catharines in Argentina might have jumped out to a little bit of a lead. St. Catharines' Owen Volkner recently, in an article from BP Sport Niagara, one of our local sport platforms, just talking about some of his experiences trying out for the national team this year. Not quite hitting the target that he wanted, but using that as a motivation for the rest of his summer.
Also exciting to see with the yellow and blue in the middle there, we've got the University of Victoria. They run a really competitive summer program. So a lot of these guys, they've maybe competed at something like Canada Summer Games, or Canamex when they were juniors, but certainly are competitive athletes who are using this as a stepping stone towards an even more competitive fall season back at university.
Yeah, their coach, Albert Van Shorthot, really tries to provide a strong program for his athletes to stay around and work as a unit over the summer. He was just recently over in Europe coaching for Canada at the Under-23 World Championships.
Good shot there. It does look like Argentina having a fairly strong race out there in lane 7, but hard to tell from this angle as well.
Well, hopefully if they've traveled all the way up from Argentina that they would have made sure that their athletes were prepared to be in the mix. It's a long way to travel to not be competitive, but this is certainly a competitive boat that they've brought up.
Absolutely. A lot of experience. Last year's winner of this event was the University of Western Ontario Boat Club. They won in a time of 6:10, and these guys will all be competing for the Fred Carter Memorial Trophy. Fred was a longtime treasurer for the Canadian Association of Amateur Oarsmen.
Now, it looks like St. Catharines isn't letting Argentina walk away with this. Argentina just a slight bit of open water, but St. Catharines is going to continue to drive through. The St. Catharines boat traveled down to New Jersey to compete at the U.S. Club Nationals recently, doing quite well while they were there.
Yeah, you start to recognize a lot of the names through the programs over the years, and Jacob Giesbrick, Jacob Martins, Owen Volkner, and Eric Buchanan, all really strong athletes. Not all from the same school, but certainly nice to see them all back in St. Catharines competing together.
Yeah, certainly. Jake Martins, I coached him last spring and last summer. He won the Junior A Men's 8 last summer, and really made a nice transition to be a part of Brock University's lightweight program this fall. Looks like the boats are all keeping their stroke rate fairly comfortable in this tailwind. No one's going too high, but you can see St. Catharines and Argentina are certainly going to be battling it out as we get ready for the last 600 meters of this race.
Argentina looking very aggressive. That's how I would describe their style of rowing. The real tenacity as they go through every single stroke. They look like they're really racing. It definitely doesn't look like they're giving this away too easy.
No, definitely not. They're not going to come this far. And again, there's only one medal that you can win at this regatta. There are no silver or bronze medals. So the only athletes that get to bring their boats into the grandstand dock will be the winners.
compared to a little bit earlier today, it definitely looks like the water's getting a lot calmer, even since 10, 15 minutes ago, which is nice for these lightweight guys to have a little bit of a better shot. But it's kind of 1, 2, and 3 as we come through the 1,500-meter mark.
Yeah, coming through the 15, it looked like Argentina had opened up a bit more space on St. Catharines and University of Victoria. Now it just comes down to, is there anything left in the tank for St. Catharines and UVic? Are they able to close that gap on a very strong Argentina crew?
Straight finals are probably maybe even a little bit more mentally exhausting, but a lot of these guys, if this might be their first event or perhaps only event at Henley, they're pretty fresh. So a spectacular kind of lighted up kind of finish isn't really out of the question.
No, and for a lot of these athletes too, they had to weigh in. You mentioned they had to weigh in and weigh no more than 72 kilograms this morning. And if they're racing multiple events throughout this regatta, managing their weight can be a big challenge and can certainly impact how well their boat moves.
Especially senior athletes, they're a little bit older. Hopefully they've got a good strategy in place, but it certainly looks like the Argentinian crew is doing something right.
Yes, they are. They have developed a commanding lead. They only have a few strokes left to reach the line, and they're going to get to bring their boats in and earn or receive some well-earned Henley gold.
Yeah, it looked like Two Seat knew he had it about a stroke before the line, and a nice celebration there from Argentina in lane 7.
Yeah, we have St. Catharines coming in second, but certainly some of those guys are under 23 athletes as well, so they certainly took a big step up to race in the senior event and come second, and they'll be using that as motivation for later in the week in their other under 23 events and senior lightweight events.
Nice to see in the corner of our picture there, you've got Haley getting in her boat with her plaque, and Stan Lipinski getting a great shot of her on the dock there.
Yeah, longtime photographer Stan Lipinski always takes the gold medal photos at Henley and CSSRA championships. Wonderful keepsakes for the athletes and coaches and parents.
Stan is a wealth of information. If you need anything about any Canadian rowing, particularly Henley history, Stan's your guy. You can check out his website. He's got a lot of cool information. We have 3 finals left today. We're getting ready for the